You know, discerning news hounds might think they're exploring terra incognita when reading the town hall headline, CNN is getting rid of an entire section on its site. Why? Because really, what discerning news seekers actually visit CNN except to see how the network hacks are warping real news and spinning it to push political collectivism. So few seekers of real news likely are well acquainted with the CNN site except as a curiosity, a passing fad, a way to check on the workings of the woke. Well, now Leah Barkoukis reports for Town Hall that CNN's financially bruised team has decided to cut one of the few things its editors honestly labeled as their opinion section. Perhaps that inspires one to respond with, isn't that the whole so-called news site? Hi everyone, I'm Gardner Goldsmith for MRC-TV, and here's the story. Ms. Barkoukis reports, quote, some contributors were notified via email that, unfortunately, CNN has decided to shut down the opinion section, with an editor adding, I hope our paths cross elsewhere, end quote. Hey, perhaps they'll cross paths in the fiction section of a bookstore. A cynic might suspect that this move by CNN likely means that they simply are going to continue pushing their so-called news without labeling it opinion, and they'll continue to promote their news content as being a different animal from their former opinion section. Quote, a senior executive at the network confirmed the decision to The Hill. We did make the decision at the beginning of the month to sunset the opinion vertical on CNN.com. As a result, we will no longer have a standalone opinion section, the executive said, pointing to a more detailed report on Substack by Claire Atkinson. That report indicated staff on the opinion desk were notified last month that they were being let go on August 9th as part of a wider cost-cutting measure, CEO Mark Thompson announced. End quote. At her Substack, Ms. Atkinson has written at least twice about the CNN cuts, noting on July 10th, quote, CNN chief Mark Thompson unveiled his new strategy today at Hudson Yards and is axing 100 positions as part of the newsroom rethink and a push into AI. CNN will move to a single international multimedia news operation, according to a memo sent to staff this morning. Select staff were called to morning meetings to find they were being laid off. CNN employs some 3,500 people, the memo said. End quote. Perhaps you're wondering how 3,500 people can offer such weak so-called journalism, and perhaps you're wondering why they continue to operate the charade of calling their output news. In her second July 10th post on CNN, Atkinson noted, quote, the move is part of a wider cost-cutting measure announced this morning by CEO Mark Thompson, who unveiled a broader global restructure of CNN's content output across digital, video, and TV. The restructure comes almost a year after Thompson took charge of the network after the disastrous term of his predecessor, Chris Licht. Thompson is reviving subscription products launching later this year after Licht executed a plan to shutter an earlier CNN streaming product conceived under former leader Jeff Zucker, end quote. And that streaming product line? Well, it's not hard news. As Daya Parda recently reported for Invez, CNN's brain trust seems to recognize that it doesn't much appeal to people who actually want real journalism about major events. Quote, Thompson announced that CNN.com will introduce its first subscription product later this year. This initiative aims to enhance user engagement and increase visit frequency by offering high-quality lifestyle journalism, end quote. Enjoy that. Yeah. And of course, that leaves many likely wondering what will be left on CNN's news site. It's easy to suspect that CNN editors simply will continue filling their news section with slanted pieces, cherry-picked subjects that promote leftism, and interviews that are one-sided and unfair. Writes Barkukas, quote, "A sampling of what's currently featured on the opinions section is a piece about how Project 2025 is coming for our kids too, and another about how it's time more horror films push back against queer stereotypes, and yet another discussing where black people can go to live freely depending on how this election goes." End quote. And Barkukas included a reaction from ex-user IT Guy that might perfectly sum things up. Quote, "If we're being honest, the entire network is opinion, but okay, less CNN is certainly better." End quote. And I'll say amen to that. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please like and subscribe. Find us over at Rumble where they don't censor us. Please share the videos far and wide. And of course, find us all the time at MRCTV.org. That's MRCTV.org. You can check out what the whole team is doing there. And while you're there, please check out the fundraiser that's happening for the Media Research Center. You can participate in helping that. And of course, check out the MRC-TV store, where you'll see some great items that might tweak a few former employees as CNN's opinion section. Anyway, and find us, of course, over at YouTube, where, yes, they will censor us, so we prefer people to go over to Rumble, populate it, follow us there, build those numbers, and get those videos out there. And, of course, you'll find us on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Twitter/X. And if you want to follow me, I'm on Gab as @GardnerGoldsmith, and I'm on X as @GardGoldsmith. For MRC TV, thanks for watching. I'm Gardner Goldsmith.
I want to invite you as my guest on a very special, once-in-a-lifetime, 7-day post-election cruise in the Caribbean. It's going to be a blast.